Here we go. Here's a trial run with some new video software that I'm using. Hopefully it works. Okay, here's how it's going to work for these practice tests. I'm going to walk you through the first question of each of the sets and tell you the answers and show you how to approach it. So hopefully that will then allow you to move through the rest of them. On this first question, first set of questions, we're talking about different line types. Now there's always going to be 8 options. I'm going to give you a hint right now. Construction line, which is letter D, and section line will not be the answer for any of these. Now, for any of the questions. Construction lines are lines that we make. Sometimes we make lines just to help drive the rest of our design, but then we don't ever intend for that line to be part of the finished product. It's called a construction line. It was there to help guide the design, but wasn't part of the finished. Section line, we're going to be talking about section views a little bit more later on, but oftentimes we'll take an object like maybe this gum container, and we'll want to slice it in half so we can see exactly what the profile looks like from the inside. When you do that, you cut through material, and we use what's called a section view to show the inside, and we use these diagonally slanted lines. They're called section lines. That shows where material was cut in the section view. None of these are going to have that, okay? So they're all going to be the other 6 for all 4 questions, I believe there are. All right, so let's go through this and what the answers are. 1.1 is showing this center mark right here of this hole. You can see the hole right here on this front face, and it goes all the way through the object, and the center line is what shows where the center of that hole is. You'll notice it's not continuous, it's not straight all the way across, it starts and stops and starts and stops. It's pretty traditional for a center line. It also extends a little bit on both sides. So 1.1 would be center line. 1.2 is pointing to the dark edge of this. Those are the darkest lines on the whole thing. They're the edge lines, and they're called object lines. Okay, so that would be E, object line. It's the actual edge of the object. 1.3 is showing this dashed line here. It's saying, hey, there's something inside of here. You can't see it, but it does exist. And that's called a hidden line. So we know, we can see there's a hole that goes through. We can't tell from this isometric view whether it goes all the way through. But we see right here, these are the hidden lines, and it says, yes, that hole does go all the way through. You can't see it, but it does. So that's a hidden line. 1.4 is what's called a dimension line. Wherever there's a dimension listed, the line that shows where that dimension goes from and to, those are your dimension lines. So 1.4 would be a dimension line. 1.5 is what's called a leader line. Oftentimes, if you have a dimension that's going to something that's difficult to get to, it's gonna use a leader line. Leader lines rarely would ever have vertical or horizontal lines to them. They usually come in at a slant. Oftentimes, would be things like the diameter of this hole. So we're showing the diameter is 0.13. It really isn't. It's probably 0.125, which is an eighth. But if we only show it to 2 sig figs, it displays as 0.13. Okay, so 1.5 is a leader line. And 1.6 is what's called an extension line. Extension lines extend down from dimension lines. So if we look at this dimension right here of 1.5, that's the total width of this thing. The arrows coming off of it are the extension, or are the dimension lines. This little thing would be called a leader line. And these lines that extend down from the dimension lines to the actual object lines, these are called extension lines. They extend down from the dimension to the object. Hopefully that helped you, okay? So remember, you will never use construction lines and you will never use section lines on the rest of the questions coming up. And good luck.